I'm going to tell my David Lynch story. So I was at the College of Santa Fe in the film department, and when Inland Empire came out, I they were doing a premiere at our college, our campus Cinematheque, and David Lynch was going to be there. So we were the whole town, everybody was nuts about this, and so I lined up that morning when the screen opened. With just it was like me and like this group of freaks that we were all just like really excited. And when I was staying there in line, and then the door opened up, and my one of my professors, David Stout, and his assistant and collaborator Corey Metcalf, they were like, "Paul, come in here, come in here." And so I got like I was not knowing what was going to happen, but they brought me in, and they both had the biggest smiles on their faces, and they were like, "Paul, how would you like to play music for David Lynch?" And I was just like, yes, fuck yes, whatever it is, let's do it. And so they were like, okay, well, first of all, David Lynch isn't actually going to be there. He's going to come in via satellite or whatever. It was Skype at the time, right? So they were like, go back to your dorm room, await an email, and there will be instructions in this email. So I go back to my dorm room. I'm waiting there. I'm super hyped up. They asked me what instruments I played. I said, "Oh, I have a bouzouki. I have a bass, electric bass guitar, and a guitar." And so they got back to me and they're like, "Okay, David wants you to play electric bass." I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to do an electric bass solo. Perfect." And then they sent me a poem. So David had this poem. I don't remember what it was. I wish I saved this email, but it was something along the lines of like, it's dark and you're in the trees, and then suddenly there's like a break and silence, or something that I was supposed to just take and interpret. So I was like, all right, I got this. Fuck yeah. Got my electric bass and my, my little amp. So that night I practiced. I don't even remember practicing. I was just so excited. That's what I remember about it. So that night, I get to the theater, and it's the first time I heard sycophant. Brent, who ran the cinema, it's like he's surrounded by sycophants. David Lynch. And I go, what's a sycophant? It's like people who suck his cock. Anyway, so I learned what that word was through this story. Anyway, so I'm at the cinema, and before the movie, and Corey, my friend, opens up the laptop or whatever, and he gets it all set up. So imagine the room. So we're in this cinema. There's a laptop on like a podium, and he opens it up, and then it's like an assistant of David Lynch's, and he's like on the other end. This was all new to me. I'd never done a video conference call like this, but now it's commonplace, of course. So this guy's over there, and he's like, "Okay, we got it working." And he's like, "Would you like to talk to David, Paul?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so he goes, "Here you go." And he hands over the computer, and I just see David Lynch. And he comes on, "Hey, Paul, how you doing? This is gonna be great." And I'm like, "Yeah, hey, David Lynch, this is awesome. Nice to meet you." And he's like, "I'm doing good, Paul. Like, how are you?" And I was like, "I just love your movie so much. It's great." And he's like, "You're gonna be great, Paul. You're gonna be sensational. Tonight's gonna be fantastic." I was like, "Thanks, David Lynch." Okay, so cut to the movie, right? This I've never seen the screen so packed. It's a little cinema, but like people literally were standing in the back just to like see David Lynch when he comes on screen. Like I said, some people actually thought he was going to be there, so probably disappointing, but whatever. So packed theater, lights go down. Brent gives a little speech, then the lights go down, and then pop on the screen is just like David Lynch's face. Crowd is like, yeah. And he's like, "How you doing, Santa Fe?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, David Lynch, David Lynch." And he's like, "Well, first we're gonna start." He read a poem, and then he said, "And now we're gonna start with some music by Paul Collins." Then everybody starts cheering, "Yay!" So I walk out, It's literally, I have my Fender P bass and my bass amp. I am not a bass solo chopsy bass player at all. If you know me, I am not at all. So, but whatever. I'm just like, fuck it, we're gonna do this. And I start, and I go into this thing that starts simple, but then before you know it, I've just kind of gone into the Lynchiverse and just like I'm, basically Bill Pullman with the saxophone during that scene in Lost Highway, but it's like me just like hammering at my bass and making just an absolute god awful sound. I'm sure putting every inch of myself into this though. I am committed. And and meanwhile, I want to remind you, so the laptop, David wanted a camera on me so he could watch me. So I'm like, that is my audience, right? I have this packed theater, but then it's him too. And then above me, though, the one other thing is David Lynch's face is just looking at me like this from the screen. It was crazy. And then, so I'm doing this like stuff and just like really getting as crazy as I possibly can be. And then I come out of it and I remember I'm just like going back and forth between two notes on my bass. Like, it's like I came out of a trance or something. And I was like, whoa, just my heart was beating and whatever. Calmed down. And then people, were like, okay, they all clap for me. I walk back to my seat. I'm going back to where Jesse and David Stout are waiting for me. And they're just like really excited for me. And David Lynch says, uh, that was great, Paul. That was just great. Come out to LA. We'll jam sometime. So that's my David Lynch story. Um, you know, those movies meant a lot to me and my friends, and I still watch Blue Velvet when I want a little nostalgia hit. And he's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like I've heard some of my acquaintances talk shit about him now. I've had some things to say about him politically and everything, but he's really imaginative filmmaker, and I'm glad he made what he did, and it really resonated with me. And I just want to say one other thing now that I'm leaving this is that I just love, yeah, he was Hollywood like crazy, right? But he is also the only person I know who's put a reference to the Tri Cities in a television show. So I think that's pretty cool. He reps like he's someone who's from small town rural America like I am, but then I felt like he really tapped into this like mystical and surreal part of that in a way that not a lot of other people do. Um, so yeah. Anyway, that's my David Lynch story. If you watch this whole thing, God bless you. I really just had to document it. So, all right. Bye.